Hello and welcome to this edition of Healthy Habits. I'm your host, Amy Davis, and today our special guest is JJ Flazanes. She is a celebrity personal trainer and host of the Fit to Love podcast. Today she's going to talk to us about one exercise that is high risk for our joints. JJ, welcome. Thank you so much for having us in your home. So I should say thanks for welcoming us into your home.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome. So I understand this exercise you're about to reveal to us is going to come as sort of a surprise to many of our viewers, as it's a very popular sort of go-to exercise. So first, could you start with telling us what that exercise is and sort of what the purpose is?
Absolutely. So the exercise is called a dip, and it works the triceps, or that's what most people think they're working, and they are, depending on their position. And it's a high risk for the shoulder joint because of the way that the shoulder joint is structured. It's really a popular exercise because it's easy to do sort of anywhere. You don't need any equipment. You can do it outside in a circuit training workout. You can do it, on a chair. So you really don't need any equipment, which makes it really popular.
Great. And so I understand we are holding bones right now, and probably many of our viewers are wondering what the deal with this is. So you're going to explain to us, sort of actually demonstrate what the shoulder joint looks like and kind of see what a tricep dip would look like in action.
Absolutely. Yeah, when I look at people doing exercise, I look at bones. I go straight to like the inside and go, what's going on in that joint? Because I tend to want to choose low risk, high benefit exercises instead of high risk, because you only get so much cartilage. And that's sort of the problem with dips and with the joints, is that we choose, all exercise isn't created equal. And so people choose exercise that they feel a lot, but what happens is they wear down their joints really fast, and then it leads to injury, inactivity later in life. So there's no reason to get rid of it.
We don't want that.
No. So the shoulder joint, this is your scapula, goes in the back, your shoulder blade, and this is your humerus. It's the right side, and it's a ball and socket joint. And to really understand a little bit more how the ball and socket joint works and why this is a little concerning, and not concerning, we were built perfectly, but why certain exercises are concerning to the shoulder joint, we need to look at the hip joint.
All right, so let's
trade.
Thank you.
So this is also a ball and socket joint. This is your femur. This is my right femur, and we have my half of my pelvis. All right, now we have the ball on the femur, the head of the femur, and the socket in the pelvis kind of are the same size, yes?
Yes.
And they look like a puzzle piece.
They
you
do.
can put them in together, right? And therefore it makes this joint really, really stable. It's a very stable joint, but it isn't really mobile. You don't have the same range of motion in your hip as you do in your shoulder. Now, that's not good nor bad, stable versus mobile. It just is. That's all I want you to know. So now let's switch.
Okay.
And we're gonna move to the shoulder joint, which, as you can see, we have a really large head on the humerus and a really small place it goes in. That's the glenoid fossa. So now we're looking at the shoulder joint, and it's very mobile. It can go in all kinds of ranges of motion, but that makes it less stable, and it's highly susceptible to injury if we move it in the wrong place.
I can see that.
Yeah. Now, what's holding this joint together is more soft tissue, because obviously there's no bone holding this in place. So why does it stay there? Muscle and soft tissue.
So potentially you can injure this a lot easier than
Absolutely.
this. Now I understand you have another demonstration for us that involves sort of a car.
Yes.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay. So I have a great example for everyone that really hit home as to why this is sort of a risky exercise for the shoulder joint. So do you love your car?
I do love my car.
Do you love your car? I love my car. And so I'm gonna pretend that I'm your car right here. And I want you to be in your car and then open your car door up. And do you see what's in between the door and the car? Do you know what that is?
What?
That's a hinge. Now I want you to get out of the car, walk to the end of the door, and now I want you to put both hands on the end of the car door, and I want you to bounce as hard as you can on the end of the car door. What do you think eventually will happen?
I think it would damage the door.
Yeah, it would break the hinge.
Yeah.
Yes, right? Because there's a lot of pressure on this little hinge. It's just supposed to hold the door up. So can we take this now into the tricep exercise so I can show how the
Yes,
door and
please.
the car, okay,
Let's see.
why this is dangerous. All right, so a dip, I'm gonna use a chair. I'm gonna put my arms behind me, and people do this in all kinds of places. I'm gonna walk my body forward. Now my body weight is the door, and my arm and my shoulder joint, well, my arms are the door, and my shoulder joint is the hinge. And if you notice, all of my body weight is on my shoulder joint in its weakest position. And the question becomes, for what? What am I getting out of this? I'm wanting to build my triceps, but yet I'm in this very close packed position of this joint, with all of my body weight. And even I've seen guys put weights on their, put more weight on there because they really want to get their triceps. It's just really high risk for the shoulder. And I would definitely recommend doing something else.
Could you give us a substitute, an
Absolutely.
alternative?
Absolutely. So there are a multitude of exercises that are at least lower risk for the shoulders and just as beneficial for the triceps. So an easy one would be a tricep overhead extension. And this can be done on the floor, this can be done on a chair. I would recommend, you have two ways to hold this. You can hold it, if you have a weight like this and it's easy to grip both sides of the weight. Some people like to do a volleyball grip and just put both hands on this. You're gonna take your arms over your head, you're gonna pull your elbows in, you're gonna make sure your chest is lifted, your abs are in, and you're gonna slowly lower behind your head, and then you're gonna focus on pulling from the tricep. From here, I am pulling my arm up and together, okay? So that it's locked at the top. And there's no shoulder motion, so you're gonna exhale on the way up, and inhale on the way down.
So this is much safer and effective.
It's as good for the tricep, if not better, and it's not risky for the shoulder.
And how much weight would you recommend people start with? Because like you said, I have seen people put weights on their thighs and do those dips in gyms.
If you're a beginner, start with, that's an 8-pound. 1 8-pound would probably be good for beginner/intermediate. You could even do single arms, and again, lying down on the floor, seated on a ball, seated on a chair. Maybe start with 5 to 8, one of them, and then do a set of maybe 12 to 20 slowly. It's really important with resistance training to really engage as much muscle as you can by doing things slowly with control versus throwing and jerking things around, because that's how you injure yourself when the muscles aren't in control.
Well, JJ, thank you so much for that information. You've been very helpful and informative, and I don't think I'll be doing tricep dips anytime soon. I'll make sure to substitute with that awesome exercise that you showed us.
I'm sure your shoulders will thank you.
They will. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Healthy Habits. We'll see you next time.